Good afternoon and welcome to Points of View. And what more appropriate location for testing the health of the nation's TV than a hospital? The set of Holby City Hospital, to be precise. Now, the biggest hypochondriac of the week was undoubtedly the Chelsea Flower Show, which had booked itself appointments all over the place and frequently more than one a day. So how did the Flower Fest fare? A clean bill of health or a televisual accident and emergency?
The excitement is building for my favourite event of the year. Chelsea 2011 begins right here.
Coverage kicked off last Sunday tea time with a 45-minute preview on BBC One, simulcast on BBC One HD for those hoping to spot microscopic blight on the specimens.
It's a wonderful garden. I love it, the way it sort of draws you down to the front. This is a driftwood bench here, a lovely piece of driftwood sculpture that you would see. So it sort of sets the tone and it's set amongst that gravel there.
Each weekday we got a daily lunchtime visit, and on Monday Alan Titchmarsh and Joe Swift also gymnastically delivered half an hour on BBC One at 7:30 before leaping the herbaceous border to BBC Two for an hour at 8.
So join us now on the other side.
Where do you start?
It's like sort of living art, really. Do you know what I mean?
Proving we truly are a nation of gardeners, on Wednesday and Friday nights the floral dose came in specially extended 1.5-hour treatments.
Just everything. The vegetables are astonishing.
So just what the doctor ordered?
Each year we get lots of time covering celebrity gardeners, cooks and whoever else's ego manages to get them airtime. Please can you just for once do a whole show doing the pedestrian eye view of the main gardens? Not clever photography or expert opinions. The plants and the gardens can speak for themselves.
This is one of the things the Beeb does really well. Looks like it's back in HD too after a couple of years in SD.
I've been twice and I couldn't see anything because of the crowds. It's much better on TV as you can see everything clearly.
Mr. Titchmarsh fawning over the royals, the camera obsessed with whatever presenter was on at the time, and so-called celebrity interviews asking people I do not know or care about what gardening they like. BBC, get your act together. The show is about the plants and the designs, not about Z-listers, presenters and the royal family.
I've always wanted to get my hands on a pair of these electric shock paddles here. Incredible, isn't it, that lives can literally be saved by machines. And the question of how much power we should surrender to computers is being tackled in the cutting-edge documentary maker Adam Curtis's latest series, all watched over by machines of loving grace.
The machines created mathematical models that parcelled out the loans and then hedged and balanced them so that there was no risk. But then, in 2008, that dream collapsed.
A very interesting programme, thought-provoking, but someone decided it is cool and trendy to make soundtracks as irritating as possible with screeching and booming.
What a breath of fresh air. Finally, the BBC have broadcast a programme that poses some real questions about the processes and control systems of our world.
This was brilliant. The best analysis of the world's financial turmoil I've ever seen.
Now we can't roam the wards of Holby Hospital without addressing the waiting list of questions you've sent in about this very place. The fictional West Country Hospital first entered the nation's consciousness in 1999. A spin-off from Casualty, Holby reflects the ward life behind the frenetic Saturday night A&E admissions.
This department isn't going to turn into an overspill ward for the entire hospital.
It's been a stalwart for 13 series, and this week's episode was its 559th.
So, today's the big day for all of us.
Holby was an instant success, even spawning the spin-off police drama Holby Blue, which followed another wing of this fictional city's emergency services.
Every single Tuesday, I tune in to watch Holby City. But it's getting on for 3 weeks now, and there's been no sign of the gorgeous Harry Dillon, aka Mr. Spence. Now, I don't know if he's busy on other plastics projects or what, but I just can't live another week without seeing him. Please can you tell me if he's ever coming back?
Well, that is indeed a very, very kind comment. While I'm off screen for a little bit of time, I'm also filming a larger storyline that kind of follows on after that. So it tends to run in cycles. So keep the faith. If I'm not on screen, I'll be back on soon.
Can anyone enlighten me as to Mr. Hansen's position in Holby? I thought he was brought in as Director of Surgery. However, he seems to be the CEO these days, even popping up to sort Nick Jordan out in Casualty. Most directors of surgery I've come across would hardly know where the ED was, never mind who worked there. Perhaps I missed the episode where he took over as head honcho.
Yes, Valley One, I am all over the shop as Mr. Hansen.
What's happening, Mr. Spence?
He is Director of Surgery and Consultant General Surgeon, so I suppose it would be fair enough to think that he could go pretty much everywhere. But as a medic, perhaps your views are more accurate than mine.
The aspect that I find deeply repellent about Holby is how vile the staff are to each other day in, day out, episode after episode. I'm wondering if this depiction is a reflection of real life or could be the cause of low levels of mutual respect in recent years.
We really, really don't want our staff to be vile to each other. What we want is our show to reflect a working environment that most people will recognise. It's a heightened environment because the stakes are really high in a hospital and people are competitive, and it's an intense environment. But more often than not, in the episodes, we'll end with that real sense of team bonding.
Can we have more Holby City? It has to be one of the very best programmes on TV, surely deserving a second weekly episode. Come on, BBC, when you have a programme as good as this, shout about it.
We would love to do 2 a week. Pass that on to the channel controller. It's really a decision that's not in our hands. But we're very happy with the schedule at the moment. Once a week is a great place for us.
Now, actually, we received far too many questions about Holby to answer them all today. But from Monday, more of your queries will be tackled by Holby cast and crew on our website at bbc.co.uk/POV. Won't look quite like that, but do hop on and take a look. Another long-running title you've had a lot to say about recently is Watchdog. The studio-based consumer magazine show has been championing viewers' rights in many guises over the years. Watchdog, the people's champion, is thought by some to be a purveyor of super lightweight buffoonery under the guise of do-gooding. There's no denying that during the programme's long history, the show has righted many a wrong. But for a number of viewers, it's time it took a long, hard look at itself.
Your dismal attempts at humour on Watchdog are ridiculous. Can't you just make a serious consumer rights programme without naff presenters and fake bonhomie? Or are we all too thick these days?
Rogue Traders, what a joke. Or at least they think they are funny. Does everything have to descend to stupidity with the Beeb?
Far too many jokes and not enough serious investigation. It's like a CBBC production.
And viewer Martin Miles also thinks Watchdog is more lark than bark.
I switched on Watchdog recently and I thought I was watching a programme for 3 to 4 year olds where I saw a man dressed as a gnome.
He's a bit nervous, he's never been on television before.
They even gave him a name, Gnomeo, but it was a serious subject.
These are unique codes. The winning codes are seeded randomly amongst the promotional packs.
For goodness sake. Anne Robinson looked as embarrassed as I felt.
You're watching BBC One.
Which one was Matt?
I don't know, but that's another result for gnome traders.
Next!
I'm concerned, probably frustrated at the way the BBC continue to dumb down so many of their, what I consider to be, relatively serious programmes. To compound the issue, we then moved on to the Rogue Traders, 2 guys on a motorbike who got more puns than I can ever imagine listening to.
Not to be confused with other firms with similar names.
Should have that printed on a T-shirt.
But they're dealing with a serious matter, and they scoot off here and they scoot off there like superheroes. Please, BBC, treat me like an adult. Cut out the dumbing down.
Well, in the great tradition of Watchdog, here is their right of reply.
Watchdog provides an effective campaigning voice for consumers because millions watch it every week. It continues to attract a mass audience because of its long-held reputation for tackling serious subjects in an entertaining and accessible way. Rogue Traders has delivered investigations and exposés in the same manner for the last 10 years. While we accept it's impossible to please everyone, the programme has achieved significant year-on-year audience growth. Viewer appreciation, as measured by the BBC's own research, has also increased.
I wonder what pithy response Anne Robinson would make after a corporate statement like that. Now, brain scans. Could we pick out the criminal brain here? How does the mind of a criminal work? Louis Theroux got to grips with that question on his first trip to the Miami mega jail. So were the hardened criminals of the US taken in by this harmless British eccentric?
So what happened to you?
Remember I told you it was a little bit more people in the cell, from 6 to 4, and because of that, there's a lot more tension, there's a lot more pressure in the cells, and it was simple. It was another theft. I remember the first incident, my eye was black, and well, there was an issue with some trays, some food, some snacks with the diet trays, and me and one of the guys got into it, and before you know, it was more than one guy that got into it.
Someone was taking your stuff?
It is fascinating, but so tragic.
An excellent documentary, but very troubling.
Whilst Louis Theroux was across the Atlantic, Barack Obama was over here with us. Interesting swap. News bulletins followed the US president's every move, although Andrew Marr did use the exclusive tag for the interviews he broadcast on the Andrew Marr Show, repeated as an Obama special.
Most of my day-to-day work is consumed by how can we deliver on the promise of the American dream to ordinary people. And so we are very proud of what we did with bin Laden. We're proud of what we've done on the security side. But what really matters to the mom or dad in Toledo, Ohio, or Pensacola, Florida, is the economy.
Interviewing Obama, I wonder why he didn't keep leaping in with interruptions like he usually does.
Obama on Marr this morning. Very interesting. Real sincerity regarding resolving Middle East problems.
Now, it was considered risky when EastEnders first parked its usual lively mix of storylines to devote a whole episode to a single character. The half-hour soliloquy in January 2008 got 8.7 million viewers and was praised for June Brown's performance and the bravery of the scheduling. Well, this week, Dot Cotton again had the stage to herself, almost.
Oh, no. Oh. Oh, stop it!
It was so overwrought and everything so contrived that in the first 60 seconds it accelerated rapidly from drama to melodrama and showed no signs of stopping when it hit farce.
An entire episode dedicated to Dot and the breakdown she appears to be having does not make for good viewing, however true to life this may be. Not entertainment.
I would just like to offer my most sincere praise to June Brown. She has portrayed the stress of caring quite wonderfully. I have been reduced to tears on more than one occasion in the last week or two.
I wonder whether the head of drama commissioning, Ben Stevenson, thinks there is scope for Dot to have a drama of her own. He is in the hot seat next week, by the way, answering your questions. Meanwhile, whatever your comments, you know you can write to us. Points of View, BBC Birmingham, B11AY. You're also more than welcome to email. Here is the address for you, pov@bbc.co.uk, or jump on the very, very lively message board, bbc.co.uk/POV, or phone us. The number is charged as a local rate call from a landline. Here it is for you, 0370 908 3199. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing this week's TV laid out on the operating table. Goodbye.